there, Buffy friends, fans, and family. It's time to get back into it and start watching another episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This week is Season 2, Episode 2. I can't remember the name of it. Why can't I? Some assembly required. Okay, this is by far probably one of my least favorite Buffy episodes. And there are a few, like, really odd Buffy episodes. I can think of two specifically where somebody tries to build a girl to abuse, but it seems like there's even more than two. It seems like there are other situations where girls are rendered helpless so that boys can, like, exploit them. Anyway, it's really weird, and I don't like it, and there's, like, this whole necrophilia aspect to it that is very, very weird. And I'm not cleaning my glasses because, you know, I just felt a sudden Gilesian urge to avoid the subject. But it did work out that way, so that's chill. That's pretty chill. All right, so let's get into the episode.
Come on, Stefan, rise and shine. Some of us have a ton of trig homework waiting.
Wait, I just realized that vampire's name is Stefan, or is gonna be Stefan.
First wake up, it's a little disorienting. He'll show.
It's weird to think of you going through that.
It's weird to go through.
You're gonna find out, Buffy. You're gonna find out.
Are you jealous?
Oh, Sander? Please. He's just a kid.
See, but his mouth moves when he talks. If my family buried me in a suit that ugly, I would haunt them forever. A brown suit? You buried your loved one in a brown suit?
What do you mean he's just a kid? Does that mean I'm just a kid too?
Yes! Yes, you're a child.
You okay?
Fine.
I just want to go ahead and point out that that vampire rose from the grave. That vampire rose from the grave by digging a hole exactly the size and shape of the coffin. Oh yeah, duh, there's a grave robber in this. Jenny, get with the program. I thought I was so smart. I thought I was like, oh, that looks goofy. Jenny.
You just say, hey, I got a thing, you maybe have a thing, maybe we could have a thing.
Well, thank you, Cyrano.
Then you say, how do you feel about Mexican?
About Mexicans?
Mexican. Food.
About Mexicans? That's a loaded fucking question. Actually, that'd get to the bottom of a lot of shit fast if you did that.
She already knows that you're a school librarian, so you don't have to worry about how to break that embarrassing news to her.
You end up living in a... No.
Another vampire?
No, this one was dug up and the body was taken out.
Jenny pointed that out at the time as if this was totally new information that was not purposeful. I can hear my cat being pathetic, but I assure you, there are other people in the home that can give the cat attention.
No, thank you.
Oh, I disagree, Willow. I think very thank you for you. You just don't realize it yet.
What are you doing? We are under fluorescent lights, for God's sake.
The camera loves you.
I didn't think yearbook nerds came out of hibernation till spring.
It's for my private collection.
Coming through. Sorry.
I don't know, but that guy, he gives me like a Lin-Manuel Miranda vibe somehow, but in a way that makes me dislike Lin-Manuel Miranda, you know?
Don't be an idiot. She's alive.
I think it's the chin pubes.
Hello, can we deal with my pain, please?
There.
It's a little bit sad, isn't it? That's a little bit... She's, like, trying to bring up, like, a thing that happened. But, like, look how often kids die at this school. Like, look how often these kids die. So, they're desensitized.
Okay, so we got a body snatcher. What does that mean?
Here's what I've come up with. Demons who eat the flesh of the dead to absorb their souls. Or it could obviously be a voodoo practitioner.
Giles? You're hearing horse hoofs and you're looking for zebras, man. Necrophilia. That should be your first thought.
Boy, I wish I knew you were going to be digging up dead people sooner. I would have canceled.
All right, but if you come across the army of zombies, can you pay just before they eat your flesh?
Sandra?
Huh?
Zombies don't eat the flesh of the living.
You're fucking lying. You're fucking lying. I have seen The Walking Dead. They absolutely do, Giles. I'm just saying that Giles did that, like, without a backhoe. Like, he did all that. I know Xander's there, but Xander didn't do shit. That job takes a man.
Hello?
Sometimes I wonder if Charisma Carpenter's screen test wasn't just, like, looking scared. If they were just like, could you please look scared and confused? Could you please look like you forget where you live, like, every 5 seconds? Keyless entry is saving lives. Every day.
Cordelia, this is the last place I expected you to hang out.
What is with the Columbo jacket?
Xander,
Angel.
I thought you were taking the night off.
I was, but something came up.
Cordelia told me the truth.
Whose dad did you steal your coat from, Angel?
I think they kept some parts.
Could this get yuckier?
They probably kept the other parts to eat.
No one is even thinking of necrophilia. That's so unrealistic. Now, I know, obviously, there are some, like, standards for television and things that you can talk about. But still, how do you avoid the topic?
I don't want to go alone. I'm still fragile. Can you take me?
You know, a lot of bad stuff does happen to Cordelia on this show, but anytime she expresses anything about it, it's always for some sort of comedic effect. And that really puts down young women and their emotions, right? It puts down... It's working towards putting down the severity of women's emotions. And then when it turns out that Joss Whedon does not treat women very well, or doesn't treat women with any respect, it's very telling that he sort of built this pop culture phenomenon, this cult favorite, and he put in little things that influence, like, the way we spoke, the way that we talk. There are things that we say because they came from Buffy. There are speech patterns that we changed, that changed because of Buffy. He also threw in that misogyny that discredits female emotion as dramatic. That was a very roundabout way of saying it, but I have a lot of thoughts, apparently.
Your friend Chris Epps' locker.
Grey's Anatomy?
I've been watching Grey's Anatomy so much I forgot it was a real book.
Talking about my...
Like, he is doing inappropriate things with that body, or with those body parts. That kid is doing that. And it's somehow making me angry with Lin-Manuel Miranda, because they both have that same sort of short, goofy guy energy, but his is sinister.
Have fun.
What? Oh, don't.
Best of luck.
Good morning, Rupert.
Don't leave! Sir! You are a fucking adult!
What?
Rupert, look, I've got to get inside and set up the lab.
What I'm proposing is...
I gotta go. Sorry.
Oh, you're going to the football game?
Yeah, you seem surprised.
You don't have time for him to ask you out, but you have time for this conversation.
So we should just go together. Look, I could pick you up after school and we'll grab a bite to eat on the way if you like. How do you feel about Mexican?
That went well, I think.
And dude, bro, she said the "how do you feel about Mexican" line. So that means she's asking you out. We know that that's a part of it.
Hello. I want to get ahead.
It will never not be funny to me when someone picks up an object and uses it like as if it is speaking. That's the height of comedy to me. Every time.
Based on what the police have put together, I would say they're one step short of completing the
Grossest episode. So nasty. This is so gross. And why didn't they just reanimate? Why did they have to cut up girls?
You promised me, little brother, that I wouldn't be alone.
Like, did they just stitch him up and raise him from the dead? Why just use a whole girl?
Maybe you could You could go out.
No.
Let people know. They can't see me.
Okay, but why? Why do they have to cut the girls up? That is painful makeup. That is, I'm not even, no, that's just, I just don't like this one. I love true crime, but I don't like that. Oh my God, I like true crime, but I'm grossed out by it in fiction. I have some thinking about that to do.
And he breaks into the open field for a 95-yard touchdown.
That's gonna be Lions fans like 6 months from now. Watching them win the division. I feel like they had one basement set on this show and then they just like changed the shooting angle. Or like they just like moved the bottom of the stairs. Like, doesn't it seem like this is every basement? Yeah. He didn't pick you, honey. It's like Andy Richter almost got her.
Oh, God.
You cannot go in the locker rooms. The locker rooms are off limits.
I know what you're trying to do. You and Eric. I know about the bodies from the cemetery. But you haven't hurt anyone yet.
That is really tight writing in that scene. I'm gonna want to talk about that more.
Hi, Miss Calendar. Hi, Giles.
Hey guys, what's up?
Did you hear that? Hi, Miss Calendar. Hi, Giles.
Perhaps you should circulate nearer the field. See what you can find.
So what's the score?
I guess don't go to the high school football game if you don't want to accidentally get cock-blocked by students. Andy Richter is so sad right now. Nothing good happens under bleachers either, like ever. I can think right off the top of my head, Hereditary, It, this fucking occasion. Bad things happen under the bleachers.
Please, just take off the blindfold. I promise. I won't scream. I promise.
They could keep her alive. It's not like they're like they've been building a corpse in the basement. Like, oh, they're even in an abandoned building. They could just hold her hostage there. I should not be thinking up ways to help you guys.
He's in the old science lab, but everything's set up there.
I feel like that guy was in other stuff. Do you know anything that guy's been in? Because he looks familiar. He looks like I've seen him in other stuff. Like, was he a patient on Grey's or something? I basically live at Seattle Grace right now.
And when you're finished, you won't go out. You won't run away. But we can hide together.
You could just scar up her face.
No. No, please.
You're just gonna use this like a fucking steak knife? It's just gonna saw? How have they successfully done the rest of this? Why did they need gasoline? There's like an oxygen tank in there. There's a propane tank somewhere because they had a Bunsen burner. And it was close by where the fire was because that thing with the Bunsen burner on it caused the fire.
Although a good rule of thumb for a first date is don't do anything so exciting that it'll be hard to top on a second date.
Believe it or not, since I moved here to live on top of the Hellmouth, the events of this evening actually qualify as a slow night.
Oh, you were kind of on a date. You weren't really helping.
So where were we?
Wondering why we never get dates.
Yeah, so why do you think that is?
It's your personality. What a weird thing to end on. We don't care about Daryl. We don't care about Daryl at all. I haven't a care for Daryl. Or his other brother, Daryl. Anyway, so yeah, there was something I kind of saw in there that I feel like I miss in my writing. And maybe that's just because I watch so much, like, TV. I really do. I watch a lot of TV. And maybe I just feel like it's missing. Maybe you don't need it in a book, but I feel like I'd like to incorporate it more. The idea of having a conflict, you know, you all, like, where you have your hero, and Buffy could have, in the locker room, Buffy could have kicked that kid's ass. But Buffy always tries to talk the other person down, kind of. Like, unless they are the super duper evil, big bad, you know, supernatural stuff. But when there's a person involved, she talks to them. And then I was thinking about, well, the same thing happens in Lucifer. Like, you know, there's always like a conversation, or there's like a chance for the bad person or the person who's doing wrong to redeem themselves, so that the hero of the story can then act out this vengeance, or you know, act out this punishment upon the person. And we don't feel weird about it as an audience member. We're like, okay, they were justified, they did give a warning, and this person was really bad, but they took the high road, so it's okay that then, you know, Buffy stakes him, or, you know, lets his brother jump into a fire. I don't know. That episode is gross. And I hate it. But it did make me notice that I feel like that might be a component of my writing that's missing. I might not give my characters a chance to have those heroic last minute, like, you know, this doesn't have to be the course of action that we're taking. This is my last ditch attempt to make it go this other way. And I need to think about that more. I know I don't write, it doesn't seem like I write a lot of action-y stuff. I am, now that I'm transitioning over into fantasy, and especially since I had like a manic episode and I wrote 60,000 words in like a matter of days. I think that I'm noticing it more because I'm writing about it more. I'm writing more in fantasy than I'm not writing really contemporary romance at the moment. But it gave me something to think about for my writing, so at least that made me like it a little bit better. That really did. It made me like that episode a little bit better because I was able to do something with how much I disliked it. But I continue to dislike it because I don't understand why they have to cut up the bodies other than to make it this gross sort of like they have this fantasy of building the perfect girl, right? I don't see why it was necessary for them to cut up the bodies. And I know it was supposed to be a Frankenstein sort of pastiche, but I still don't know. It's gross. It grosses me out. I don't like it because it's gross. I don't like it because I think the cutting up the bodies is unnecessary, and it unnecessarily is exploiting a young woman's body. Several young women's bodies. They find her body parts in the trash. I mean, again, this is very colored through the lens of what we know about Joss Whedon now, right? Because there are certain things I know about Joss Whedon. There are going to be sinister motives that I ascribe to his writing. And so that episode is just extra gross, extra icky. Thanks everybody for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe. There's links to my work down in and other places you can find me down in the description box. And we're getting back to Bridgerton next, so I'm really excited to be back in full swing on this. I'm back to watching Buffy, and I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you are also enjoying it. And I will catch you on the flip side.